I'm writing a paper on climate change for a class in environmental biology. The first place I look for my information is on Google, because I feel like Google is a reliable source to go to whenever you're looking for anything. It has a broad range of different websites. As long as you put in the correct key terms, you'll usually find whatever you're looking for. I begin my research by looking for the causes of climate change, because I feel like that's something important to know basically the effects that it has on the world, and also, ways to prevent any future possible climate changes that can be affected from humans or people. I choose this link because from the small description of what's on the website, it tells me basically everything that I want to know, meaning the causes of it, the greenhouse effects, if humans are the reasons for the effects on climate change, and so on and so on. Usually, with websites that I feel are important, either I would go ahead and bookmark them, or I would go ahead and open up my email and automatically start putting them in the email towards myself, just to let me know for later use. If I don't fully write down everything that I see on there that I want at that moment, I can use it for later use and go back on there and just research everything. Usually that happens when I'm on campus. But if I'm at home, then I'll go ahead and I'll get all my information together and start writing my paper, which that's the place where I'm most comfortable with writing. I'm clicking on this link also because in the description it's explaining to me how humans are the causes of climate change. It's sort of related to the same website that I had clicked previously, but of course it's good to get different sources, opinions on what you're actually looking up. And of course, looking on this website, it's practically giving me the same exact information, but like I say, it's just a check. It's usually something completely different on there that I might miss. I would also save this source because, like I said, from the previous website that I was looking on, it practically has the same information, but there are a few things that are different that could become useful for later use. Another thing that I usually look for, besides just these different articles or websites, I would also look sometimes at the images, because the images can give you basically a visual for you to fully understand more of what you're looking at. Sometimes reading can get a little boring, so images, the colors, everything, it pops at you, pops at you and like captures your attention, and it explains it a little bit better. I clicked on this picture because at the top, the title, it says 10 indicators of a human fingerprint on climate change, which kind of gives me a brief description, kind of sort of telling me how humans are affecting the climate, but of course with a visual, which this will be a picture that I would either more than likely just completely save onto my computer, or I will just simply copy the picture and paste it into my email, whichever one of course is better. Now that I've looked at the causes, I'm going to change my search terms to the effects of climate change. Basically, to figure out, not only, I want to know, of course, how these climate changes are caused, but I also want to know what are the effects that they have on basically the environment. I would have clicked on this website because although the description gives me something that I feel could be useful, but because it's a Wikipedia page, we all know that it would people can easily get on the website and alter the information. So majority of the time the information would not be accurate. So that's a website not to be trusted really. But I will click on this one because, well, in the description it says that I guess they have a list of some of the impacts that climate change has. I will also save this website because, like I previously stated, there is indeed a list of different impacts that climate change has on the earth, and a brief description under each one stating exactly how that is affected. I could also click, well, I will also click at the bottom where they have the searches related. They have an art, I mean, they have a search term which that I'm going to go to on basically the human health, which is also something that is important to the climate change on how it affects us humans as a person. I'm clicking on this site because in their description too they state that there are basically many factors that it could have on our health, and I'm pretty sure it'll give me a good description on what the different types of effects that it is on people. 15 minutes.
I know, right?
The first thing I would do in research is pull up a Microsoft Word file and list the ideas for my topic. I'm writing a paper on global warming um, for an environmental biology class. Um, yeah. In Microsoft Word, I would brainstorm a little bit, a couple topics just to get me started. First topic, the climate change. Uh, Within climate change, what happens, results in ice caps melting. Um, what else? Certain animals being extinct. What else? Well, this is when I'll go to the internet for further research. My favorite internet browser is Google Chrome, so I would go there, go to google.com and type in global warming. Um, on the list of results for global warming, I try to stay away from wikipedia.org because most of the time the information on there is not accurate. It's made by, like, anyone use their can put their own ideas in on that. So I would go to something like this website here, climatepath.org. Yeah. Okay. Scrolling down, just reading a little bit. I didn't find much information here, so I would go back to the search page. Scroll down some more. National Geographic. Pretty sure they have the right thing. I know what to talk about. Okay, here's something. Global warming. The current cycle of global warming is changing the rhythms of climate that all living things have come to rely upon. What will we do to slow this warming? Uh, Pretty sure this is right. So I would use this website. I would list this website in my ideas on Microsoft Word. Just copy and paste the website. That is for citing my sources later on at the end. So I'm clicking on this global warming tab under environment. The global warming topics. There is causes of global warming, the effects, the science, and the solutions. I'm going to click on causes and do a little reading. What causes global warming? Skimming through, and I would summarize a little bit of it and put it in my own words. Write it down in my Microsoft Word file document. Then I will go on to the next topic which is effects. How is it affecting the planet? There's some pretty interesting points. So I would use a couple of these ideas. I would have to cite these word for word. So I would, because it's dealing with statistics and exact measurements in percents. So I would, cite this as a source for the information at the bottom of the page. So I would write that down too. And I would go back to the topics, so on and so forth. Same thing for science and the solutions. Summarize, put it in my own words, and put it on the Microsoft Word document. Then after that, I would start writing my paper. After I'm done writing my paper, I would cite my sources, include pictures, where did I get the pictures from, what websites, of course. I rarely use library sources. I do most of my research at home on my computer. Um, yeah, and after I'm done with all of my research and writing my paper, then I conclude it. That's about it.
I'm writing a paper on semantic memory for a class in semantics. First, I usually go to my Georgia Southern account. After I go there, I usually click on Galileo because that is the site that I mostly trust. In Galileo, I usually do a search in the search bar that pops up first, and that's where I usually start my research. And I'm typing in semantic memory right now. And this usually I could get most of my papers, but if it's kind of vague, then I go back to Galileo and then I look through the topics from browse by subject. And I usually go, if I'm doing a class in social linguistics, I try and narrow it down into either maybe psychology if it's relates more to that, or I'll go to where did it go? I'll go to either literature, language, and literature criticism. But I'm gonna go back to so I went back and I typed in semantic memory in the bar that popped up first. And here I usually browse and see what topics are recurring for the one that I typed in saying, so I put in semantic memory. I see some of the topics there I see a lot is children, kind of like bilingualism, like Chinese words, and a little bit of like diseases about like how let me see. Oh yeah, like autism and how stress might affect somatic memory. And from here, I usually think about why I wanted to do that topic and see if anything relates to it. So I wanted to do somatic memory because I wanted to know what exactly was somatic memory. How could I do like a basic format if somebody asked me what somatic memory was? And when I was researching this topic, it was kind of hard because mostly the topics like I listed before was the ones that I found, but usually I would go to the side and just put full text just because sometimes I don't want to go through the whole section and try and find the full text from something else. Like the loan, the I think that's how you abbreviate it. And usually it works if I just put full text. I find something that can help me with my research paper. So then, when I do find something, an article that's I think that might help me, like Talk This Way, the effect of prosodically converted somatic information on memory for novel words. That seems like something that might help me. Sorry, Miss, do you want to change? Oh, okay. Okay, so then I would open the article. I would read the abstract first, because mostly that really does help, reading just the abstract and seeing the keywords. And this one kind of sounds what I want to do, so a little bit more on my topic. I'm thinking I would try and do maybe an experiment on how someone would react to words. Let's just say car, for instance. What would they, if I describe car, what would they immediately think of when I describe that word? Would they immediately think of car? Would I have to describe it more? And how would that would fit if I have to if I showed them a picture instead? And now, while I read this is just me looking it up in just the word somatic memory. And this article kind of sounds like it could help me because it's talking about emotional information, and it's talking about how words convey and like how some information might be. Let me see. How do we react to synonyms and antonyms of a word like a small dog or a large dog, which is really interesting. This might help me a lot. So now that I think that this might help me, I go to the icon, the little email on the side. And I usually email this to myself, so I put my Georgia Southern email address. And usually when I type in my Georgia Southern email address, they have on the side, like if you want to do APA, if they have like the citation format. And that is a really huge help. especially once, like, when you're doing a whole, like, maybe two research papers at the same time, or you're trying to concentrate on how to say get like a lot of information. This is the best. I really love this feature because I could just put in APA, and then I have the format already, and then I usually just send it to me because it usually just sends me the text and the like the PDF format. So I'm gonna go back. So another thing I learned actually, and I learned this from my social and linguistic class, is that other than just putting like your topic in the main browser, you could go to database. And one thing that actually Professor Sonic showed us was the MLA database format. And that's what I usually use next. Yeah, there it is. The MLA International Bibliography. This is really good for usually like social linguistics class and maybe MLA classes. I'm not MLA, I mean English classes too, but I didn't realize that until I had a social linguistics class. So I'm going to type in actually a different thing, but it's the same topic. It's semantic mapping. And I realized that this was a little bit more into what my topic was about. However, when I put semantic memory, there's a lot of find it, that little purple button, find it somewhere else. And that's okay, but I guess if you're like in a time crunch, it's, well, you should have been like researching faster, but sometimes you think you have enough research material, but then you realize that it doesn't help you in the long run because after you read the third page, then you start to realize, oh, this might be something else. And so when I click on, I'm just going to find external arguments in introductors. That is one of the topics. So, and it says it has a little purple button to find it, and I click on it. And usually what pops up is print, search for a resource in Gale. And I find that this button really doesn't help at all. Like when I click on it, usually it sends me to this page that I really don't understand what's going on. Like it pops up and there's like an exact search, and then there's like the title. The title's already inside it, and then there's the journal title. And then when I narrow my research, sometimes it doesn't even pop up. There's this another screen that pops up, and it's just like I don't understand what it's asking me to do. And even when I do, like if that doesn't pop up, something else will pop up, and it'll just say like this number. Let me see if I can remember. Let's see. I remember. Okay, so I'm gonna try a different one, and the effect of teaching vocabulary through semantic memory. That's the title. Well, not the whole title, but when I click on it, the Gale section of it, and then I narrow my search, it's still popping up, and there's still like the narrow my research, like is it the English, middle age, and I'm just gonna try it right now. I'm just gonna try. I think it's English. I'm gonna just language English, yes. Location, I think anything is fine. Medium. Well, I think I want computer file. I think I want, and then the next one is item type, and then I'm going to try a book. Place of publication. I'm just going to see if there's Georgia. Um, Georgia, yeah. And then I'm going to pick for publication status, current publication. And then narrow my research. I narrow my search. And then it just like it pops up, and then the same exact research page came up. I guess I had to put more records, and still nothing pops up. So usually I give up at that time. And then I usually I trust more in interlibrary loan, and usually I click on this, and sometimes actually underneath the library loan there are articles that are kind of around the same topic, and I use that too. Like for this one, there's memory strategies and ESL vocabulary acquisitions, and I think that would kind of help with my research paper, but I might have to read it. But usually I would go to the um, interlibrary loan, and I would put in my Eagle address and like password, and then usually everything's in there, and I just had to click send. So once I have my resources, and I usually try to get, like if the minimum of my research paper are 6 articles, I would try to get at least 8, because I always know, like, when I get time to actually start reading all of these articles, that it won't, I know that at least 3 of them won't work.